Live.
Hi.
Yay!
Hello, Sid. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
It's very good. It's almost evening here. It's 6 p.m. here, GMT. And over there, what time is it in Mexico? Like,
Well, Mexico in general is in Cancun, we're EST now, so it's 1 p.m.
it's tea time.
It's tea time, like in London.
I'm,
I thought we were going to do this in Spanish, Dan.
uh, uh,
Does people know that you speak perfect Spanish?
yeah, probably.
Probably. Okay, just so you know,
I,
Dan speaks
I,
perfect
I,
Spanish.
I think so. Like, hopefully we can speak some Spanish.
Yeah, later. We will teach some words in Spanish. Okay.
Oh man, I told everyone in this hangout that I'm going to interview Citlalli Rico. So this is like a huge privilege for me to speak with you because you are like one of my photography guru. Like I've been following your work for ages, like ever since I was a little boy.
Come on, don't make me look like that.
I'm
Well,
just pulling your.
that's a compliment. Thank
I'm
you.
just pulling your leg. I'm sorry. Yeah, but yes, I've been
No, that's
following your work for a decade now. If I'm not
no.
ever since before I started photography myself and my wife. And we are very, very thankful that you are joining this method with us in an island in the middle of nowhere.
So exciting. So yeah, well, that's why we're here, right? Like that's why this hangout is about, and it's about the retreat that you're organizing. And I know that you want to interview me, but I will interview you about this before we start talking about me. Sorry, surprise.
Oh no, you didn't say this. You didn't say this before.
No, no,
Right?
no.
You haven't spoken about this before.
I'm just terrible about this, but because I was asking you before about it, and surprised about the lineup that you guys came up with because it's a very the variety is amazing. Like I'm so looking forward to it because I'm going to learn from photographers that are really strong in different areas where I'm not very strong at. And I think that happens to every single photographer, that you could be super good at business, but you're not very creative. Or you're very creative, but your business is not doing very well. So if we go, we're going to get in 1 week and in paradise.
What more can we ask?
I know, it's so exciting.
All right.
You have to be honest. I know I haven't let you speak, but I want to know, like, did you create this for you guys because you wanted to, it's like this for me.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, we created 4 retreats for free workshop. Like we can sit down and just enjoy ourselves.
Okay, I love it. Perfect.
No, I'm just pulling your leg. Like I mean, uh, Elysian Photo Retreat was born not because of ego, not because like we want to position ourselves, but it was created for a community for humble people, like humble-hearted people, just like the mentors here. They're all awesome and so humble and so crazy. And I think that a community like there is no a rock star, there is no I'm better than you and you are worse than me. So everybody is equal, but at the same time we all learn from each other. And I think this kind of community, like adventure, community-driven family, I think like learning is a lot easier if you are having fun and beside your friends because you're not competing to each other.
I know, it's amazing. It's one of the great things about the industry that once you find your community, it's like your second family, right? And that's what happened with you guys in the first retreat, I guess. So that's why this is.
Oh man, yeah, the first retreat we did that in Azores, and it was really awesome. We are very thankful of that. And now this one, this new brand that we have, the Elysian Photo Retreats, like we are hoping that we can really revive that vibe between all the speakers, between all the students, between all of us. Like we ended up with, like, we started as strangers and we ended up like friends or even lovers by the end of of the week.
You never know what's gonna happen. Of course, that's awesome. I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you so much for asking, Sid. So I'm going to ask you things as well.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, before I start asking you uncomfortable questions,
Okay, Don.
let's do some word games, so to break the ice. Okay,
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to say a word, and you will say the first thing that pops up in your head.
Okay.
All right, sofa.
Sofa. Netflix. I know.
That is so bad. Okay. Let me become sexy.
Sexy. Light.
Chili.
Food. That chili, right?
Camera.
Tool.
Heart.
Oh. Love.
Home.
Family.
Teddy bear. I'm not a teddy bear. I'm a unicorn.
I'm sorry. Well, that was the first thing I thought. Okay, I have to rewire that and think, okay, unicorn, got it.
Soul.
So,
Story.
photography.
Oh, thank you so much. Just
Oh.
just a short stuff that you did, and it actually brought out many things about you as a person.
Whoa. I was just thinking, it's like a lot of the questions you were asking have to do, like the first thing about approach to photography. So, yeah. Are you a psychologist?
I'm just a crazy person.
Okay. There are two of us here.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you some important things about you and your personal life and your creative and your business. So if you're not actually comfortable, just throw me a pillow and I'll shut up.
That's okay. I'm going to be really honest. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So how did Seth started into photography?
Well, it was almost 12 years ago. And it was because I was unemployed. Like I had no job, and the studio here, a family, they're my friends, they needed another photographer. So they asked me if I wanted to and be a wedding photographer. But when I went to school, I'm in communication. And back then, becoming a wedding photographer was the worst thing that you could do. Like, seriously. So when I said yes, it's because I really needed the job. But I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? So the first year, when people ask me, like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm unemployed. I'd rather say that I had no job than telling people that I was a wedding photographer. I know, it was terrible. And after the first year, I realized how amazing the job was and the profession it is, how challenging. And so you need to be a wedding photographer, now I'm super proud. Like when people try to say that we're not photographers, like I'm like, okay, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like we are, and we deserve the name.
Owen, how your viewpoint changed when you started like, oh, wedding photographer now. I'm unemployed.
I know. Yeah, I have no job, I'd rather to say. Well, it was because of how hard it was to be a good wedding photographer. The checklist, like, okay, you have to take a picture of the bride and the groom kissing after the ceremony, and the picture of the bride walking down the aisle with her dad. And so like that, pretty much anyone can be a photographer. But afterwards, I realized how important it was to pay attention to other stuff. So
that's really
there you go.
perfect.
I lost you for a second.
I'm sorry, I'm everywhere.
Yeah. So that helped a lot. Like when I realized that it was a really good profession and it requires a lot of skills and not just technical. You know, you just have to be a better person to become a better photographer. So that's when I realized that we're cool people.
We're cool people.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, like every time I see new photographers right now, they're so proud of being photographer. Thanks to you guys. Like you started the way. Like now we are so proud saying to people like, yeah, we are wedding photographers.
Oh, I think yeah, I think you're right. I think it was we were able, and even though still you talk to other photographers, some people still look at us like we're not like actual photographers. But I think as a community, we're really proud. We know how much we can give. So definitely, it's getting better for sure.
Oh man, yeah, you guys paved the way. Like you guys who started 10 years ago. Oh man, I salute you. So it's
But
talking about like
yes.
you've been years shooting, more than a decade shooting. Let's talk about creative rut, Sid. Have you encountered yourself into this situation?
Well, I think it's like for me, my season is completely different than in like other countries because our season. I live in Cancun. It's all over the place. Like summer is really slow, but then May could be really, really high season, and November too, and it keeps changing. But I always said like at the end of May, I was like with my clients at the end of May because same for people that work in like by seasons, and by in October or September they're like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore, this is crazy. So obviously you burn out when you're shooting too much for in a very short period, through like in 12 years, through many things, even thinking like I quit, I don't want to do this anymore. In terms of not just creativity, also of you're either not good enough or you just don't want to do it anymore because you're tired and you just want to try different things. But everything I find that I really like doing this. You know, when I start thinking, okay, I'm going to quit. And I'm like, no, I was just joking. I'm just going to go back and keep shooting weddings. I like it. It's just a matter of trying to find inspiration on other things. Because if we keep trying to find inspiration in photography, it's going to be really hard to stay creative.
Oh man, yeah, like it. Everything is like bombarding you, like on social media, on your Instagram, your Facebook, your friends.
And the thing is that I feel like as wedding photographers, we're very connected and we love each other. So we like to keep looking at what other photographers are doing. But I just feel like we're creating where we're just keep adding the same things and just, you know, like it's the same and we're going to get the same results because we just keep adding the same ingredients. So that's why we have to stay out of that pond or whatever, I don't know how you call it, but we just need to go to another stove because we're just seeing the same things over and over and over again. So it's good to know what's happening in our industry, but we just have to also with art or even just real life or just having a personal project that has nothing to do with photography. Something different, writing, I don't know, whatever you're interested in. But we need to find the time to do that. Definitely.
I love ballet.
There you go. I want to see you dancing.
I can wear my tutu on the Elysian Photo Retreats. I'll bring it.
Please do. Yes. I want to see that happening. Now you recorded it, so
After a beer or
I know how to do
two,
it.
I'll be dancing with my tutu, promise.
Oh, good. Bring it. But like, in serious, like, do you like ballet? Like, have you been to a play or to a?
Oh no, I don't do ballet like professionally, but my wife and I, when we
Yes.
met, we were like dancers.
Really? That's awesome.
It's a very funny story because when I first told this to in front of people, I really I don't really speak a good English, so I told them we were like exotic dancers. So I mean, I told like in front of an audience, like my wife and I, we were exotic dancers before being a photographer. And
What did I say?
like everyone they were serious. Like, should we laugh or should we like stay serious because he's serious in this thing? And then a friend of mine, like at the back of everybody, were like it was like laughing like he's peeing on his pants and like he shouted like, "Sorry guys, Don didn't mean that." Like what he wants to say, like he and his wife were Hawaiian dancers.
Oh, I love it.
Not exotic dancer, but for me, like in my language, translating the word, it's almost the same. So I can't.
I understand.
Then
Totally. Oh, that's so cute.
I did not know that in English it was like exotic dancer. It's like the stripper.
Yes, of course. So that's amazing, though. And so now maybe at the retreat you can teach us some, like you guys can teach us how to dance Hawaiian, not exotic or exotic too, whatever you want, but Hawaiian would be amazing.
I can pole dance all night long, so no problem.
Nice. That's awesome. So really, you were dancers?
Yeah, we
That's
were
so
we
cool.
were for a couple of years back here in the island, but now we were like, oh man, things change. Like your waistline change,
Well, yeah, it gets better.
your belly button becomes very yeah. You cannot see your belly button anymore. It
But you can
disappears.
still use it. It doesn't matter. You can still use it.
I
Oh my
know.
God, that's awesome. But do you do it at all? Because I don't know, if you really like it, I find that when you go back to something that you really enjoyed, it helps your state of mind in a way that your creativity gets way better.
Oh
You
yeah,
should go back to dancing.
we love it so much. Like we
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
just can't wait to do that again. It's just routine kills creativity, isn't it?
Totally. Well, even just at home. I know that you're busy because you're parents right now, but even like if they see you dancing, they will also have a passion for for movement. You know, that's
Yeah.
so important.
Thank you so much. She actually loves to dance, like my baby. She's just doing the hula herself.
Oh, that's so cool. She has it. Her
She has it.
blood.
She has it. So next question before I get naked here and dance hula.
Exotic.
Doing some exotic dance that nobody wants to see.
Yes. Well, who knows? Let's just ask. Let's ask the audience.
So next question, life-work balance. How do you maintain it?
Ooh, that's super hard. It is a lot of sacrifice when you want to have like a successful career as a teacher in photography. Because I've been doing, besides doing weddings, I'm also a teacher, and I'm a speaker, and I give workshops, and so the sacrifices on your personal life are like huge. It's a tough topic for pretty much every photographer too. So you see how either you're single or your marriage is not doing very well. So it's kind of the same as when we were talking about the dancing part to do it. There is no way you can just like postpone time with your family. normally when we tend to like hide behind our profession, it doesn't matter if you're a photographer or a techie or you work at an office, you will always hide because your personal life is not doing very well. So the balance comes when you go inside and ask yourself what's happening, like what's going on. And, for me, when my balance started to work out is when I went to see a doctor and they said that I had to go to surgery because of cysts.
Oh.
And then that hit me because I didn't want to go to surgery. I just changed my entire life. Like I changed my diet, and I also changed. I slowed down. I'm still traveling a lot, but now I hired my sister, who is my second shooter. She is my editor, so she's doing all the post-processing for me. So now I have a life, you know, I have time to spend with my parents and my sister and with my boyfriend, and a lot of time for myself to heal. But it only happened after maybe 8 or 9 years of like working my butt off, you know, and it paid off, but my health wasn't doing very well. So my advice is always like telling people, don't wait until your health or your marriage or your personal life is going to hell. You know, just take a breath, you know, and just go back inside and find your center and make sure you're self, and then the balance will come easier.
It's funny that you open up that topic. Like when we were working for a company, like we are far away with our family. We are working in like 8 to 5 jobs, and we hate it so much. But now we are in the job of our dreams. Like we love it so much, and then suddenly it turned out into hell.
It happens all the time. So it doesn't matter if you go to a different job after this, because it's going to turn, because your inside is not okay. You know, like that's we start just finding another reason to escape from going back in and asking, okay, what's wrong with me, or what's good with me. Find your balance inside, then the balance will show outside too. But as long as, like, if we can keep hiding and running and like just becoming more, then that balance is not going to show, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your honesty in this topic. I know this is a very very tough question.
Oh no, I mean, I can talk a lot about it. I'm just saying it's difficult as a wedding photographer, because as you said, like before you had a schedule, and now the schedule, you set it. But instead of having 8 hours, you're working 16 hours because you love it. And after 3 years, you just want to, after 3 years, you just want to quit. So that's when we just have to be very honest and find out why we're hiding or what we're not trying to face.
Exactly. Next question said, what inspires you the most?
Well, I'm a stalker. I'm like a creepy lady that is in a park just watching people. Like, I'm a watcher. So I love people watch. I love, I realize that I'm not very good at posing couples. You know, like I'm not very good at finding the right pose for the hand and the touch. And so when I accepted it and I'm like, okay, that's not my strength, then I realized that the thing that was inspiring me the most was life and actual relationships. And so going to a park and seeing how people sit and how they make out, and you know, that's like my
one moment, how they make out.
Okay, so I have to explain that part. In Mexico, like, it doesn't matter if you're a teen or you're an adult, like people will make out in parks, like no problem, everywhere. So they're kissing and like doing other stuff in the park. So, I mean, it's kind of creepy that I like to see that, but it's not because I enjoy seeing it. I enjoy seeing how they sit together, for example. because I'm so tired of seeing people like, okay guys, so go and sit there on the bench, and then they ask them to sit back to back and just hold hands and try to see each other. That's so natural, right? And it would be a fun photo if you're doing it just for fun, but it's actually like no one sits like that. Nobody does. So what I do is just, I love to watch what people do and just get inspired by that and suggest those kind of situations for my couples. But then I realize that different way of sitting down, so I just let them be. But that really inspires me. I love going to, if I go to a nightclub, I love to dance, but I'm always watching who is with who and who is flirting with who. You know, it's just a thing that I have, and that's my biggest inspiration for sure.
Life.
Life, yes.
That's very beautiful.
It kind of works.
One quick question.
Yes.
Who is Citlalli without the camera?
I think it's the same person. I don't feel like the kind of photographer that has the camera all the time. Like when I am doing something else that I enjoy, I don't need to be photographing it.
What are the things you enjoy to do?
Exactly. I feel like the camera is super necessary to register certain things. Needs the camera all the time. I go on vacation, I don't bring my camera. I would shoot just with a smaller version or my phone, you know? But I'm not all the time photographing. I truly admire the people that do that, because they are definitely way better photographers because they're practicing all the time. But I love to be present sometimes too, and not having to think of how to compose it well, because that's also a thing that with 12 years, like you can't shoot a bad picture, you know, like you have to, once I have the camera in my hands, everything comes up, like, okay, composition, light, it has to be good, and blah, blah, blah. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna snap a photo as I'm just a random guest, or I can't. So my brain like changes, and now I'm present, but in a different way. So sometimes I like to be present without having to think, prepared for something with the camera. But I truly admire people that do that. They just have it in them, and I don't. So it's the same, kind of the same person. I'm okay being without the camera sometimes.
You can survive.
Totally. Like some rest, please. I also want to tell you, Don, that when we started shooting 12 years ago, we shot an average of 100 weddings per year.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to kill myself.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I felt after 3 or 4 years of doing that. So it was a great way to train, you know, like just to practice, but it's definitely a lot. So that also, I know that it doesn't help now, because I'm like, okay, I need a break from the camera time to time. But I got to shot maybe 700 weddings by now.
My goodness.
Now I only shoot 25, so.
That's a very good number, like 25% of before.
Yes, right? Yeah, I know.
Good number. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. It took me a while, but I'm proud of that number too.
Mm-hmm. During a wedding, is it like, what are you looking for? Do you look for something? Or do you just go with the flow?
Of course. I definitely go with the flow. Like I'm kind of a control freak in my life, you know, like I'm just like very control oriented, I will say. So that's why I still enjoy weddings, because I don't try to control anything at a wedding. Like whatever happens, happens. And if the dress rips, I'm going to be there to photograph it. And if I'm not going to be telling people what to do at all. That's why I love documentary that way, like just of what's happening. I think what we're looking for at weddings is just making sure we're capturing the beauty of it as in real life, not the beauty of it because they have beautiful flowers. the beauty of it, because we're going to capture meaningful images. So we're always paying attention to like the super slow moments that are happening all the time, like very quiet moments that will mean something for our couples later. And it's not just for saying it, it's also because we've asked our previous couples what they like. Images are always the ones that are meaningful in a very quiet way, not the epic ones. So
yeah, not the epic ones, isn't it? It's funny because you told you just told right now that the photographs that we do, it doesn't really matter what we did, but the meaning is afterwards, after we did after the wedding.
And the longer, the better. You know, the value grows way more. And that it's very simple because, and it's kind of like sad. We just have to deal with that. But we all die. Sorry, guys, we all do. So because of us, I always think that in general, like people will never hire a photographer to be with them the entire day. Right now, there are some options like the day in the life. For when you have kids and that stuff, that it's amazing. But before, the only time you will have a photographer like with you was when you were getting married. So if the photographer is not taking and capture meaningful images between parents and kids, like parents and bride and groom, or grandparents, or like all the people that are important for them there, then they're not accomplishing the very, very important function that we have in society. Because if we just see us as wedding photographers because we have to go and capture beauty in a traditional way, then we're definitely not taking advantage of our profession. So we're going to be there to create a document for them for later. And you're helping to have this document for future generations. So we definitely need to make sure we're also taking meaningful images, not just pretty images.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's so awesome, like, to hear this kind of words. Like it's making me happy.
Good, thank you. That's why I keep shooting weddings. I just love that part.
Yeah, that's your gasoline, and I definitely see that. I definitely see that. Dame gasoline.
See, that's exotic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dan.
Can we actually reconcile creating for ourselves and creating for our clients?
Totally. Oh my God, yes, of course. And I actually encourage all my students to, because a lot of photographers think that they have to create just for their clients. You know, like, oh my God, I can't shoot this photo because my client is not going to like it. Or I don't have time to create images for myself because my client wants this. So when you're starting, it's very important that you create images for your clients. But also take some time for your images too. And then my advice is that later on, you start showing only the images that you created for yourself and thinking of you. And then the clients that resonate with those images are the ones that are going to hire you. So then you're not going to have to think only of your clients. You're going to put all your soul in those images, all the things that you like in those images. So those images are going to be for you, but are also going to be meaningful for them. I'm always thinking of them when I'm shooting, but also of me. It's like, it's side to side, you know? Even if I'm shooting a detail that I don't enjoy, I'm thinking, how can I create this with my vision in a way that I enjoy it? Like, I am proud of showing. You know, something like that.
Or if you don't like it, you just put the middle finger and then just click at it.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's so important. You're right. It's like, I think that part is the one that we have the hardest time with, thinking that we have to shoot for them, but we have to put ourselves on the side. And no, you can always combine it and create images that you like and they love, you know.
Thank you. What are the biggest problem when you are like starting to shoot? You're just beginning in your career as wedding photographer. What you have seen like many beginning photographers in their careers. Like, what are the most like biggest problem that they have?
Well, it has a lot to do with what we were talking about, balance, and it's we all have fears and problems that are blocking us from becoming better photographers. And I think the hardest one is when you are very technical and very mental and you're not connected with your emotions, you know, because then you're a great product photographer, because you can think of light and you can think of the how to position the product and what to do amazingly with it, but you don't actually need to connect with it. But when you're shooting people, when you're shooting weddings, you definitely need to be in touch with your feelings and your gut feeling too, in order to be a better photographer. And I think that's been the hardest when we find the students that have no connection with their feelings, when they have that part completely blocked and they're not connecting with their clients. That's really, really tough.
Oh,
because
man.
the other ones, when you're like not really good with your technique, you can definitely improve that. But the connection part requires like help. Like you can just go, like literally, I'm not joking. I've done it. Like go to therapy where they help you to heal certain things so you can connect with people. We're really, really deep look and find out what's happening, that you have a hard time empathy for your clients. So I would say that's the toughest.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for bringing that out.
Well, I think we all have a little bit of that, you know, because even though I'm totally moment-oriented, I am very technical and mental too. Like, it's not that I know everything about the technique parts, but I'm sometimes. So I have to leave room for my heart to work when I am shooting. That it's also hard because it happens to me.
Oh man. Thank you for that. Thank you for your honesty. I really love this interview because like you're saying the first thing that pops up in your head. You're not thinking twice. You're not thinking twice.
No, I'm not.
The word game did its job.
Yes, totally. Good job with that one. It's a great.
It did work. It's awesome. So, being a second shooter. So how do you, like, your sister is your second shooter, but for many people, like, they don't have their own second shooter, so they need to find their own second shooter in many ways. What tips can you give people about finding second shooter?
Well, because I've only shot very few weddings without my sister, and I will say that the first thing for me is that they're obviously a solid photographer that will deliver, but the most important is that I get along with them. You know, that it's been really hard when I've shot with some certain photographers, that they like to direct and stop moments so they get what they want, and that's been really difficult for me. So if you are a moment-oriented photographer and someone that has kind of the same vision you do, and that you can work in harmony with them, because having to tell them certain stuff during the day is just taking away from your energy from your clients. So that's why I love working with Tamara, because we've known each other our entire life. She's my sister, but also we've worked together for 11 years by now. So we know what we need from each other when we're shooting. So if you don't have one second shooter that you can trust, just make sure that it's a person that is kind of your friend, that you can hang out, you can get along, and you have great communication. Because it happens all the time that, oh my God, I hated that second shooter. I really didn't like it, but you didn't tell them anything. You know, you have no communication. You didn't tell them what you were expecting from them, what you needed them to photograph. And that's kind of like shooter fault, right? So And the first thing that I will be looking for is that we get along, that we have the same vision.
Definitely. Thank you so much. For being here.
Do you guys shoot together?
Yeah, we most of the time we shoot together, me and my wife.
That's awesome.
And
Okay.
the problem I had this year is like most of the weddings outside our country is that I was shooting alone because my wife is breastfeeding with my baby, with our baby. And it's like a total suffering, like leaving the country without her and without the baby.
Oh,
So and then the thing that we love most is it's not a blessing anymore. It's like curse.
you're right. So you didn't bring a second shooter, like you were on your own.
Yeah, I go on my own, and then I have a second shooter that shoots with me.
There.
So
It's not Helen.
it's not Helen. Sometimes it's Nathan that goes with me.
Oh, really? That's
Or I
awesome.
go with,
Okay. So, but you get along, right? Like you
yeah,
can, so that kind of works.
yeah, we're like David and Goliath. So I cannot mess up with him. He's so tall. I mean, he just smashed me, and I'm done.
Well, but you know that story, right? You know who won on that one.
I know. I know.
So
I can reach his balls like.
exactly. That's so funny that you shoot together. That's awesome.
It was,
Well,
it
no, I
was
know
a
it's important to have someone that you trust.
very good point. That's a really very good point. So if someone is like going to approach you and ask you like an advice, like the big advice that you can give to someone, what would it be?
Um, it would be retreat, photo retreat, definitely. And it kind of sounds like a commercial, but it's not that one that I encourage you guys to go. I think that the biggest advice that I wish someone gave me is that when you start in this, is that you learn from different people that will give you of the business. Like we focus a lot on creativity, but we don't focus on business side. Or we read about social media, but we don't worry about customer service. So when you have somewhere you can learn from different people that will teach you all of this, oh my God, go. I wish I did. So that would be my advice for sure.
Oh man, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I think that will close our interview. Like actually this hangout instead of calling this interview because I'm so chill being with you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be part of it, and I can't wait. I've never been, so can't wait to be in that small, awesome paradise with all of you guys.
Oh man, it's not so small. I promise you.
No, I know. I'm just thinking it as a, like an environment where a small community will start becoming bigger and bigger.
Oh man, hopefully.
Yes, yes, yes.
But definitely, this is a part of our heart. Like a huge piece of our heart is with this, and that's what is most important for us. And thank you for jumping in this madness.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching this live with Citlalli Rico, one of my favorite photographers of all time. So, see you guys for the next interview. You take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.